This film begins by showing a transfer high school student named Lee Hee-min running towards the school gate to avoid being late for school. At the same time, Yoo Ji-min, who is also a student at the school, collides with him as she tries to enter the school grounds before the school guard closes the gate. Despite being late, Ji-min is allowed to enter by the school guard, while Hee-min is detained by the teacher until another female student named Sol Ji-yoon arrives and is also not allowed to enter the classroom due to being late. They both greet each other as they receive their punishment before eventually being allowed to enter their respective classrooms. Upon arriving in class, as Hee-min introduces himself as the new student, Han So-young, who is his classmate, arrives and captivates him with her beauty. Shortly after, the class teacher asks Hee-min to sit in his seat while he sees a long-haired ghost figure at the window that is about to disturb So-young. Quickly, he runs to hug So-young to protect her from the ghost, but since he is the only one who sees the ghost, Hee-min cannot explain why he ran to hug So-young, so he is laughed at by his classmates. During the break, Ji-yoon is harassed by No Dae-young and other naughty students who snatch her sandwich. Hee-min, who is in the cafeteria and witnesses the incident, immediately helps Ji-yoon by asking Dae-young to pay for the sandwich he took. Dae-young appears very angry, but when he is about to attack Hee-min, So-young arrives to stop Dae-young's actions while reminding him that his girlfriend, who is also So-young's younger sister named Han Na-young, needs care in the hospital due to his actions. Upon hearing this, Dae-young and his friends finally decide to leave the cafeteria. Switching to a market, a female shaman named Woo-rin appears to be buying chicken meat at a stall, but the chicken seller instead shouts that he doesn't want to sell his goods to a shaman. Because of this, people around them start gossiping about Woo-rin being a shaman, which annoys her, and she curses the chicken seller while he's eating. Shortly after Woo-rin leaves, the chicken seller suddenly feels pain in his neck and spontaneously vomits a frog. Returning to Hee-min, he opens So-young's diary, which was left in the cafeteria, and finds a photo of two girls inside. When the photo falls, Hee-min, who is about to pick it up, feels something strange in the science laboratory room in front of him, so he walks towards the room and inspects it from the outside. At the same time, Ji-min approaches him and tells him that she knows about Hee-min's ability to see ghosts from their previous collision. Ji-min also reveals that he is the heir of Mu-young, the greatest shaman in Korea, and even Su-yeon, Ji-min's aunt who is the school principal, has informed her about his powers. At that moment, Ji-min asks Hee-min if he saw a ghost in the science laboratory, because she can only sense the presence of ghosts without seeing their forms. Hee-min admits that he didn't see anything and walks away. On the other hand, Dae-young's friend, named Junmo, is asking Ji-yoon to meet him later in the evening, making her feel frightened. After school, Hee-min hurriedly left the classroom to catch up with So-young, because he needed to return her diary. However, on his way home from school, Hee-min accidentally bumped into Song-a, Ji-yoon's classmate. Song-a stared at Hee-min, who was trying to apologize, and then quickly chased after So-young again. Meanwhile, Dae-young and his friends were still hanging out at school, and Junmo intentionally played a video of Song-a being scared when she was being harassed by Dae-young's group. Dae-young's female friend, Kyung-min, who was present, got angry and slapped Junmo, who still had the video. Junmo, not taking it lightly, pushed Kyung-min until Kim Jin-gon, also a member of the school's troublemakers, arrived and reminded Junmo not to be rough with their friends. In front of Woo-rin's house, the neighbors were seen discussing Woo-rin's profession as a shaman. When they saw Woo-rin coming out of the gate, the neighbors sarcastically asked if Woo-rin's daughter had also become a shaman like her. Woo-rin, momentarily annoyed, only replied that she was no longer a shaman as people talked about. At the same time, a car stopped not far from Woo-rin's house, and an old man who was Mu-young stared at Woo-rin from a distance, making her scared, so she quickly entered her house. Simultaneously, Ji-min met Su-yeon, who instructed her niece to set up ghost traps at school so they could capture the evil spirits roaming the school building on the full moon night. Su-yeon also gave Ji-min a ghost-repelling stick so her niece could protect herself from ghosts or evil spirits trying to harm her. At the hospital, So-young, who was visiting her younger sister, just realized that her diary was not in her bag because it was still in Hee-min's hands. As he was about to read the diary, he changed his mind after being startled by a bat crashing into his bedroom window. In the evening, Dae-young and his friends gathered at the school building to have a drink together. On the other hand, Ji-yoon, accompanied by Song-a, was in a very dark room waiting for Junmo to arrive. Ji-yoon intentionally invited him to meet there, as suggested by Song-a earlier. On the other side, Soo-yeon met Moo-young to give him documents about the girl who died in the school fire. She informed him that the girl's mother was a shaman who would likely summon her daughter's spirit on the full moon night for revenge. Moo-young then questioned her about the ghost traps at school during the fire incident, and Soo-yeon admitted that the ghost traps were broken. At that moment, she also told him about her grandfather, who built the school building and transformed the evil powers around the school into pure spirits. But now evil forces were re-emerging due to many students engaging in various wrongdoings at the school. Moo-young said they needed to capture the ghost of the girl who died in the fire before it harmed other students. At 10 p.m., Hee-min entered the school building and inadvertently damaged the ghost trap that Ji-min had set up. At the same time, Ji-min, who was in one of the schoolrooms, sensed the damage to the ghost trap and checked the surveillance room, where she saw Hee-min entering the school area. Ji-min quickly searched for him, who was now in the classroom corridor, and encountered a school security guard. When Hee-min explained that he was looking for something, the security guard's eyes turned black because he was an evil spirit intent on attacking Hee-min. Realizing this, Hee-min ran into a room to escape from the pursuing ghost. In another room, Dae-young and his friends were asleep in a room after getting drunk. After a while, Jin-gon, who woke up, immediately woke up Jun-mo and told him that Ji-yoon hadn't shown up. Jun-mo seemed unconcerned because he was very sleepy, while Jin-gon began to realize that he and his friends were in a different room as if they had been mysteriously transported. Jin-gon panicked and woke up all his friends, telling them that they were in the science laboratory where a female student had died in a fire. Turning to Woo-rin, when she saw Moo-young and Soo-yeon coming to her house, she quietly ran towards Moo-young's car and hit the driver's head so she could escape using the car. Meanwhile, Moo-young and Soo-yeon had to face the ghosts that Woo-rin had summoned to attack them both. Shortly after Moo-young successfully defeated all the ghosts, his driver arrived and informed him that Woo-rin had left in Moo-young's car. Hearing this, Moo-young intended to immediately go in search of Woo-rin, but the driver suddenly stopped after seeing something from inside the shaman's house. At school, Dae-young and his friends were trapped in the science laboratory. Although Jin-gon tried to break the door until his hands were bleeding, the door couldn't be opened, making him more panicked and frightened. Seeing this, Jun-mo actually laughed at Jin-gon's foolish behavior, which infuriated Dae-young, who then hit Jun-mo. Back at Woo-rin's house, Moo-young and Soo-yeon entered a room where they saw a painting on the wall drawn with chicken blood. At that moment, Moo-young asked Soo-yeon about what she saw in the room, and she admitted that she didn't find anything strange except for the depiction of a burnt doll. At the same time, Moo-young noticed 6 dolls on the table that matched Soo-yeon's description, so he suspected that Woo-rin didn't plan to summon the spirit of her deceased daughter, but rather intended to resurrect her by killing those involved in her daughter's death. Without further ado, Moo-young instructed Soo-yeon to go to the school where the ghost would harm everyone involved in Woo-rin's daughter's death. Meanwhile, he planned to confront the evil spirit in the ritual room. In the laboratory, Jun-mo suddenly started vomiting blood continuously, which made Dae-young and the others even more frightened. They then tried to open the laboratory door together until they were finally able to escape. Switching back to Woo-rin's house, one of the dolls was seen burning simultaneously with Jun-mo's mysterious death. Meanwhile, Hee-min was still trapped inside the school and continued to run to save himself from pursuing ghosts until he accidentally bumped into Ji-yoon. Eventually, both of them found refuge in a place where Song-ho was located. On the other hand, when So-young came to school to retrieve her diary that she left behind, she saw a figure resembling her younger sister and decided to follow that figure. Returning to Song-ho, she asked Hee-min to open the ventilation so she could access the adjacent room to retrieve her belongings. Meanwhile, Dae-young and his friends were still trapped in the school building because all the doors were locked. Shortly after, Kyung-min, who needed to use the restroom, asked Do-sik to accompany her. When she entered one of the restroom stalls, Kyung-min saw a ghost that frightened her, causing her to scream in fear. Upon hearing their friends scream, Dae-young and the others quickly entered the women's restroom to check on her. When they opened the stall Kyung-min was using, they were shocked to find that she had died mysteriously. This led them to run out of the restroom. Meanwhile, at Woo-rin's house, one of the dolls again caught fire following Kyung-min's death. In another room, Hee-min was crawling through the ventilation shaft towards the room Song-ho mentioned and inadvertently damaged the ghost trap set by Ji-min. Upon reaching the room, Hee-min saw the ghost of the school security guard. Fortunately, Ji-yoon grabbed his hand and led him to a hiding place. On the school staircase, So-young, who had followed a figure resembling Na-young, finally realized that her sister couldn't be in school because Na-young was still in a coma at the hospital. She walked to her classroom to search for her diary, and was startled to find Na-young sitting on one of the benches. Returning to Dae-young and his two friends who were still trying to escape, unfortunately, they still couldn't open the school building's door. In the midst of panic, Jin-gon briefly saw something in the dark classroom corridor, and was subsequently attacked by the ghost, resulting in his death. Mu-young, who was still inside Woo-rin's house, also faced an attack from evil spirits inhabiting the room. The shaman struggled to fight the evil spirit, even vomiting blood. Furthermore, Jin-gon's death caused one of the dolls on the table to catch fire again. In the school building, just as Dae-young managed to open the school building's door, he was attacked by the ghost, and Do-sik, who witnessed the incident, ran in fear to avoid the ghost trying to kill him. 4 dolls were seen burning in Woo-rin's ritual place, but this only weakened Mu-young further, causing him to vomit blood due to the increasingly powerful evil spirit's attack. Meanwhile, feeling that the situation was becoming safer, Hee-min invited Ji-yoon to leave their hiding place. Unfortunately, she declined the invitation, so he chose to go out alone until he met Ji-min, who informed him that So-young was also at the school. Hee-min was quite surprised by So-young's presence at the school at night, and he also told Ji-min that he had met Ji-yoon and Song-a. Hearing this, Ji-min explained about Song-a, who had died in a fire in the science laboratory. Shortly after, several ghosts appeared at the end of the hallway, ready to attack them, prompting Ji-min to use the staff given by Soo-yeon to drive away the ghosts. Ji-min, realizing that the situation was becoming more dangerous, told Hee-min that they had to find So-young, who was likely at the school's swimming pool, where the ghost trap was still set. The two of them hurried to the swimming pool, unaware that Do-sik was following them from behind. When Hee-min arrived at the swimming pool, Song-a approached him and asked why he was still at school. Hee-min then revealed that he had recognized Song-a as a ghost. Calmly, she also admitted that she knew he was the successor of Mu-young. Without much time, Hee-min inquired about So-young's whereabouts, and Song-a pointed towards the swimming pool, informing him that So-young was about to drown. Just as Hee-min was about to save So-young, Ji-min arrived and reminded him that Song-a had used him to disrupt the ghost trap. Nevertheless, Hee-min couldn't let So-young drown and chose to enter the swimming pool to rescue her. At the same time, the ghostly figure of Song-a approached Ji-min and tried to influence her by saying that Ji-min was unworthy of being an exorcist. This made Ji-min cry as she began to be influenced by the ghostly whispers of Song-a. In the classroom corridor, Do-sik, who was chasing Hee-min and Ji-min, was startled to see a pool of blood on the floor. When he turned around, the evil spirit appeared and killed him, causing another doll in Woo-rin's house to catch fire. Meanwhile, Soo-yeon appeared to panic as she couldn't enter the swimming pool area because the door suddenly locked itself, while Ji-min was being choked by the evil spirit. On the other hand, Mu-young continued to be attacked by the evil spirits until he finally perished in the battle. With Mu-young's death, the ghost-repelling weapon he typically used seemed to vanish. After Soo-yeon managed to open the door to the swimming pool area, Ji-min was freed from the evil spirit's grasp. Switching to Hee-min, who had entered the spirit world, he witnessed Song-a's past, who was Woo-rin's daughter and a shaman's child. Song-a was frequently bullied by her schoolmates due to her mother's profession. Hee-min tried not to pay much attention to it and immediately searched for the whereabouts of So-young, who had been taken into the spirit world by the evil spirit. However, he was shown how Song-a became a victim in the school fire. At that time, Hee-min saw Na-young meeting Song-a to thank her, because Song-a had told her a spell that allowed Na-young to start dating Dae-young. On another occasion, Kyung-min, who also liked Dae-young, appeared ready to punish Na-young for supposedly seducing him. Sometime later, Song-a confronted Na-young again, who had turned into a delinquent student after hanging out with Dae-young's group. However, Na-young misunderstood and thought that Song-a had feelings for Dae-young. When Na-young was with Dae-young's group, Song-a tried to make Na-young realize the mischief she had been involved in with Dae-young's group. Because of this, Song-a was bullied by Kyung-min and others in the science laboratory, and Junmo even recorded how his friends harassed Song-a. While Na-young was outside the laboratory, witnessing all these events, she was eventually chased by Dae-young and others to keep her silent. Meanwhile, Song-a was locked inside the laboratory and tormented by an evil spirit, causing her to accidentally drop a burning burner, leading to the fire that burned the laboratory. Unfortunately, Soma did not survive that incident as she was trapped inside the room. Back in the real world, Soo-yeon and Ji-min looked worried as they waited for Hee-min, who had not yet emerged from the swimming pool. In this situation, Soo-yeon realized that Na-young was also in danger because Na-young was involved in Soma's death. That's why she immediately went to the hospital where Na-young was being treated. Turning to Hee-min, who was still in the spirit realm, he witnessed Woo-rin crying hysterically as Soma's body was being evacuated by the police. Woo-rin then approached Na-young and blamed the girl for her daughter's death. So-young, who also witnessed this, told Hee-min that her sister was to blame because during the detective's interrogation, Na-young had lied to cover up the facts about the bullying done by Dae-young's group against Song-a. Hee-min explained that Na-young had done this under pressure from Dae-young and the others. He also returned So-young's diary, explaining that Na-young had lied to the police to protect So-young from Dae-young's group, who would do something terrible to So-young if Na-young revealed all the facts about the bullying by Dae-young's group. So-young read Na-young's message in the diary, which asked her to report Dae-young to the police so that Na-young could seek forgiveness for Song-a by doing the unthinkable. Not long after, Hee-min brought So-young back to the real world, but he chose to stay in the spirit world. With So-young exiting the spirit world, she was able to leave the swimming pool and was rescued by Ji-min, who had been waiting for her. At the hospital, Woo-rin approached the unconscious Na-young, and just before she could harm the girl, Soo-yeon intervened, preventing Woo-rin from going through with her plan and leading to a fight between them. Unfortunately, Woo-rin managed to overpower Soo-yeon and once again attempted to end Na-young's life. At the same time, the figure of Song-a appeared, calling out to Woo-rin. Meanwhile, Hee-min, who was still in the spirit world, encountered the figure of Song-a and stated that the Song-a before him was actually an evil spirit pretending to be Song-a. On the other hand, Woo-rin dropped the knife she was holding and cried as she looked at the image of her daughter. In the spirit world, Hee-min managed to drive away the evil spirit that resembled Song-a using Moo-young's whip. At the same time, Woo-rin suddenly fell from the upper floor of the hospital and perished. Following this incident, Hee-min returned to the real world and was awakened by Ji-min, who was worried about him. While hugging Hee-min, So-young expressed her gratitude to him for saving her. Hee-min appeared embarrassed, while Ji-min pushed So-young to release her embrace. Hee-min then thanked Ji-min for comforting her, and So-young received a phone call from the hospital informing her that Na-young had regained consciousness from her coma. Upon hearing this joyful news, So-young hurriedly went to the hospital. In the final scene of the movie, it showed Hee-min giving a gift to Ji-min and making her blush. Moral lesson from the story: sometimes you might run from ghosts that only you can see, but in the end, it's better to help your friends with their sandwiches than to be chased by evil spirits in a cafeteria.